Greetings again. There's a something I stumbled upon. I was trying to find where in the scriptures, specifically Old Testament, are the scriptures that say that there was going to be a Gentile, like a preacher that spreads the news to the Gentiles, because it's in there. And if it wasn't Paul, then who on earth was it? But then I was led to Isaiah 56. Now, this is specifically concerning that time when he would make the new covenant, renew the covenant, new covenant. This is Isaiah 56 is concerning that, when his righteousness would be revealed. So Isaiah 56 thus says, Yahuwah, keep justice and do righteousness, for my salvation is about to come, and my righteousness to be revealed. Blessed is the man who does this, and the son of man who lays hold on it. Okay, but if what time period is this? My salvation is about to come. His righteousness to be revealed. Let's see if I can find that in the New Testament. New Testament, his righteousness revealed. Romans 1:17, possibly. I want to try to make that connection. I'm not ashamed of the gospel of Messiah, for it is the power of God to salvation for everyone who believes, for the Jew first, and also for the Greek. They're all one, there's no divider, for in it the righteousness of God is revealed from faith to faith, as it is written, the just shall live by faith. Habakkuk 2:4 is where he gets that from. Quoting from the scriptures, the just shall live by faith. For the wrath of God is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men who suppress the truth in unrighteousness, because what may be known of Elohim is manifest in them, for Elohim has shown it to them. There's other verses, I know. I just don't know where they are right now. But for in it the righteousness of the Father is revealed. So going back to Isaiah 56. It says, my salvation is about to come, my righteousness to be revealed. Okay, this is specifically during Messiah's time, okay, and what he did, and all of this was this time that this was going to happen, his new covenant. And I still think there's even a further meaning to the prophecy, like even more in the future, like the actual salvation, It did come, but it's still coming. Hopefully you could see that. We are being saved now, but salvation still has to come. The full thing isn't here yet concerning salvation, past tense, For my salvation is about to come, and righteousness to be revealed. I hope you could see Isaiah 56 is absolutely prophesying of that time, of the Messiah. In Daniel, you can make a connection. The righteousness would be revealed. The kingdom would be established, and sins wiped away, and all this started to happen, what Messiah did, and the time afterwards. And there's still like a full fulfillment of that to come, that full fulfillment of the kingdom to come that has come, is coming, and will still come in the future, It's always at hand. It wasn't just for Jews back then. Kingdom of heaven is in hand because you could enter it now, spiritually. For my salvation is about to come. and my righteousness to be revealed. Does this mean that the old saints didn't have, you know, any kind of salvation at all? I don't think so. I don't believe that. I think what we have is a, definitely a greater revelation of everything that the Old Testament saints maybe had some glimpse or some vision, but not a full clear picture. Because by the time you get to the New Testament and Messiah comes, like nobody was aware of these prophecies and what would happen. They just all thought literally he's going to save us from the Romans, and that's it. They didn't understand this. They didn't really understand the kingdom of heaven because they weren't spiritual, all those people. So it's always been by faith, but this thing was revealed on a great scale, much greater than any time before. That's my understanding of what happened, because nobody has ever been saved by the law, through the law, because the law constantly condemns you when you screw up. And everyone screws up. Therefore, once you screw up, you need something to fix that, wipe away those sins. Therefore, no person on earth ever that lived ever was going to be justified by it. So it's very horrible that most these denominations in Christianity, the church world teaches you, they imply, get people to think that, yeah, back then they were, they had to keep the commandments and they were saved by the law. No, they weren't. No, they were not. He paid the death penalty. He paid the physical death penalty, But spiritually too, the flesh needs to be nailed to the stake. Spiritual also, not just physical. He paid the physical death penalty, and the true thing was here now. Before, it was just animal sacrifices, which never actually took away sins. That's why it had to be done over and over again, and didn't actually, Paul says it didn't even clear the conscience. It didn't actually take away your, so, as time goes on and I have a better understanding, I'll give it. But I'm not claiming I have the full understanding of what it was like to be a saint back then and now. There is a difference. There is something better about this that comes with power. I'd like to say that they were the sort of the physical, carnal representation of his commandments and what a saint is, People might not like that and like to hear that. I don't think they were as spiritual as how we could be now today with, the spirit and power. I'm not so sure about that, because as long as you kept the physical commandments, you weren't, you were doing good. Don't physically commit adultery, but who's going to judge you for committing spiritual adultery? See what I'm saying? So after the time of Messiah, the Father's wrath was revealed to all the world for unrighteousness, because it would start condemning and saying this is sin that you spiritually do. See, and I don't know that that was being done exactly like that before. It's more so like, keep my commandments carnally and I'll bless you carnally, and if you don't, I'll curse you carnally. This is where I've been led to believe and see. It's just the picture I see. I think it's true. I think the blessings were more so physical focused and the curses were more so physical focused. The keeping of everything was more physical focused. Not that it's wrong or evil. I'm just saying that they didn't truly rise to the spiritual understanding of the law. I'm not sure anybody did back then, because they were types of the true thing. They didn't have the spirit of the Messiah in them. Most of the people didn't even have this Holy Spirit at all. But it would come upon a prophet, to give them revelation and understanding. But there was something very important, major, that was happening when Messiah came after, and the Spirit being poured out. Because now all his true believers are becoming those types, the priests and kings. Like right now, they were just like physical pictures of the true thing. See? That's how you can read scripture, and all of it is still spirit. It's not just some carnal thing. All of it has spiritual meaning and implication and value. Genesis through Malachi, you know? And it always did teach the spiritual meaning of these things. It did teach the heart is like the main thing, the problem. But you know, if you physically kept the commandments and you looked good on the outside, were you condemned for anything within the heart, really? Or cursed? Because every time the Israelites sinned, it was like on a physical level. Like, here's our gods. And we're doing this, and we're going into adultery, and we're sacrificing babies to Molech, and all these things have a spiritual implication and meaning that people think is hidden because you can't see that, right, so easily with you can't see it with physical eyes. They can easily say, no, we don't worship a golden calf or commit any idolatry, you know, because it's spiritual, right? Like, look, we don't have a golden calf and we bow down to it, you know. They could say something like that, but they are spiritually, though. It's a huge problem. So these things are all spiritual, you know. But that doesn't mean the actual physical commandments went away. Adultery is still adultery. It's still serious. The Sabbath is still the Sabbath. It's still serious. It's important. So why'd they do away with the fourth commandment? You know, and don't even get me started about the spiritual understanding of all the other commandments that people don't keep, but they just sort of on a physical level say, oh yeah, I don't do adultery. Yeah, but do you actually lust every day? Are you overcoming lust? Because that's the high calling, is to understand the spiritual meaning of all his commandments and do them. Not just the physical. If you're lusting, you're falling already. You're going in sin. You're going to have a spiritual judgment and death, you know? Whereas before you would be stoned or something, you know, physically. So my understanding is that he paid the price for sin for all people. Therefore, there's a resurrection of all people because he paid it. There's teachers out there that say the wicked aren't resurrected again, you know. It blows my mind. Blows my mind. The resurrection of the just and the unjust, you know. One verse. That's all you need. They deny it. They deny it. Specifically, what I'm thinking of is the preterist group. There's certain sects of the preterist camp that don't believe in the resurrection of the wicked. It's because their first doctrine is sick and evil. And I made a video, and it was for the purpose of not the viewers here, really, because I don't think any of you believe in preterism, okay? If you do, you should repent from that, but I don't think any of you do. There's a camp out there, and it's doing damage. And it was specifically to send a link on a few of their videos over there and try to wake a few people up. But the video I did that's hidden right now, it's because it wasn't for this channel or people really, it wasn't so much for this channel or for people watching these videos. It was for a specific thing and group. And I'm very blunt and forward and just very blunt in your face, calling out the snakes for what they are, you know. And I know people, they think something's wrong with Ryan's heart, you know, but that's not what's going on. It's just that there's an evil teaching going on, and it's evil. And I made a video on it to disprove it, focus on one thing mostly, even though I mentioned some other things. How evil it is to say that the great wedding already happened, you know, and the resurrection and everything already happened, you know. Is there a spiritual meaning and spiritual resurrection, born again, or resurrect? Sure, sure. But they take that to some complete other path and level and say that's the only thing. There's no actual resurrection. So they're a bunch of liars and snakes, and I'm still, my heart was not wicked in that video or had any personal agenda, like against personal problems. So, but I know people are soft, and they can't handle some things, and they think it's too. They think somebody of the truth is always like smiling and happy, and I'm gonna have to say they don't have the right understanding on that at all. They just don't. The spirit is not always smiling and doing this, okay? The people who make an effort to do that all the time, 99.9% chance that they're false in some kind of way, got some kind of heart problem, or just a very high percentage chance, that's all. That their goal is to start a video going, "Hi, I'm from such and such publications, and I'm a good man. See me smile?" No, that's not me, man. You're going to see if I'm angry about certain teachings or happy about something. You'll see it. There's no fakery going on in this channel. And I don't believe anybody that has the spirit is like that they try to do something to look good and have that in their mind all the time. I don't care. I had someone say, it's dark. Can you do your videos in more light? I said I could. I replied. But, and maybe I'll try not to do any in pitch darkness, but, I'm sorry if you don't, I did that preterism video and it was all dark, basically. You can't hardly see me. It's because I don't even like my face on the video in the first place. But specifically that video I did was very tailored to a specific group and a specific teaching from specific people. And I just want the message to be heard, not, looking at my face so then people can go, "Oh, look at him. Look at his face," and make some kind of judgments or something. I just don't, I'm not into flashy stuff, perfect, bright, background and stuff. I just don't like it, I'm sorry if you don't agree or like that, but, I'm not really gonna, I'll try not to do too many in pitch black, but sometimes I just want the voice. I just don't want to be seen, that's all. I just want to do a message without being seen sometimes. So it's not a video for looking at, it's just to listen, that's all. It's not that I'm trying to go against anyone, it's just I feel I have the right to do that. Am I going to get more views or, no, it's not going to get me more views. But that's not what I'm concerned with. I'm concerned with one or two people seeing, and then it, leads them to the Father, to truth, and they're actual true believers. That's what I care about, not 20,000 people viewing and nobody's a true believer. I'm not interested in that. So in Isaiah 56 it says, "My salvation is about to come, and my righteousness to be revealed." I'm telling you, this is the time of Messiah that was to come in the future from this perspective. Isaiah the prophet. Okay, so hopefully you can see that. Hopefully you can see that this is that salvation that was about to come, people believing in the Messiah and receiving the Spirit, changing, coming with power, and his righteousness to be revealed, not our righteousness to be revealed. Nothing to do with our righteousness, so-called. Okay, so that's what this is. Blessed is the man who does this. Keep justice and do righteousness. For my salvation is about to come, and my righteousness to be revealed. Blessed is the man who does this, and the Son of Man who lays hold on it. who keeps from defiling the Sabbath and keeps his hand from doing any evil. Do not let the son of the foreigner who has joined himself to the Father speak, saying, the Father has utterly separated me from his people. Can you see how powerful this prophecy is? It's so mind-numbing. The context is perfect. It's about the future, about his salvation coming, the revelation of the Messiah, the Spirit of the Father in the Messiah, in us. And then it says, who lays hold on it, who does this, who keeps from defiling the Sabbath and keeps his hand from doing any evil. So prophecy, if you can hear these words, is prophesying from the time of Messiah afterwards. Blessed is the one who keeps from defiling the Sabbath and keeps his hand from doing any evil. Can you see this? How much more proof do you need that the Sabbath didn't go away? It's not a Catholic thing where like, oh, one of the commandments went away or we changed it or something. Christianity, well, they do that with the fourth commandment. And then they point fingers at the Catholic Church for changing one of the 10 commandments, which is like the 10th one, I think, or something like that. They modified it or took it away or whatever. And they do that with the fourth commandment. Is it bless those who defile the Sabbath or bless those who keep from defiling the Sabbath? This is not, everyone obviously knows Old Testament. Yeah, they had to keep the Sabbath back then. No one's going to argue that. But after Messiah, they say it changed. And this is talking about that time. My salvation is about to come, future, and my righteousness to be revealed. Blessed is the man who does this and the Son of Man who lays hold on it, who keeps from defiling the Sabbath. That's why it's written in here, so that a nobody like me could make the connection and show it. Because the Father knew in advance, writing down through the prophet on what people would do. And here is a little gem, and there's more that prophesy of the commandments still being intact, not his laws vanishing, okay? They never vanish. We very much focus on the spiritual meaning of all the commandments, like make sure that's talked about and that's being done, because otherwise you'll just be carnal and your own righteousness. I look good. No one can see whether I commit adultery, right? Whether I lust in my mind. No one can see whether I have a spirit of stealing, one of the commandments, stealing from the Father. Anyone who breaks one breaks them all. And I could go into that and we could prove that, You don't keep the first commandment if you break one on purpose. Say it doesn't exist. You can't keep the first one and love the Father. You can't keep the second commandment. Idols and stuff like this. It becomes an idol in your heart. You can't keep the third, you know what I'm saying? There's a spiritual connection. You steal, you covet, it's idolatry. You put yourself and your rules above his. You covet whatever it is you are doing, or if you steal something, you automatically covet it too. Those are like hand in hand. You commit adultery with the Father spiritually. We're taught that in Scripture. It's adultery when you break his way or teach people it doesn't exist. That's spiritual fornication. It's adultery. It's idolatry, because now you put some man or your own rules above his and becomes your idol. Scriptures are true. You break one, you break them all. Blessed is the one who keeps from defiling the Sabbath. And the context is about the future. Future. Now look in verse 3. still concerning these times in the future, I believe, it's pretty clear to me. Do not let the son of a foreigner, Gentile, who has joined himself to the Father, speak, saying, the Father has utterly separated me from his people. Don't let that happen. What does the whole church world do? They do what he says not to do. Do not let the son of the foreigner who has joined himself to the Father speak, saying, the Father has utterly separated me from his people, nor let the eunuch say, here I am a dry tree, for thus saith the Father to the eunuchs who keep my Sabbaths, plural, all of them, and choose what pleases me, and hold fast my covenant. This is the new covenant. This is in the future prophecy. Even to them I will give in my house and within my walls a place and a name better than that of the sons and daughters. I will give them an everlasting name that shall not be cut off. And the sons of the foreigner who join themselves to the Father to serve him and to love the name of the Father, Yahuwah, some say Yahweh, to be his servants. Everyone who keeps from defiling the Sabbath and holds fast my covenant, even them I will bring to my holy mountain and make them joyful in my house of prayer. Their burnt offerings and their sacrifices will be accepted on my altar. For my house shall be called a house of prayer for all nations. Gathers the outcasts of Israel, says, I will gather to him others besides those who are gathered. Okay? This is about the future. From the time of the Messiah on and now, but also even in the age to come. Who will he give a name to? We can connect to some other scriptures that this is talking about the future from the new covenant onward. Okay, and Sabbath is mentioned more than once. It's interesting. To the eunuchs who keep my Sabbaths and choose what pleases me and hold fast my covenant, I will give in my house and within my walls, New Jerusalem, a place and a name better than that of sons and daughters. I will give them an everlasting name. They shall not be cut off. This is the kingdom of heaven. And Messiah says, you will be given a new name in Revelation, and we have some hints of this. Abram to Abraham, Saul to Paul. So also the sons of the foreigner, or Gentiles, right? Those who are not part of Israel, who join themselves to the Father to serve him and to love the name of the Father, Yahuwah, to be his servants. Everyone who keeps from defiling the Sabbath and holds fast my covenant, even them I will bring to my holy mountain and make them joyful in my house of prayer. Their burnt offerings and sacrifices, think spiritual, will be accepted on my altar, for my house shall be called a house of prayer for all nations. I don't know that that scripture teaches that sacrifices, like real animal sacrifices, will come back. It must not, at least not for sins. Not for sins. There's no way, because the real thing is here. So I think that's spiritual, you know. Like Paul brings this up too. Sacrifices, like your prayers and what you do, where your heart is, are sacrifices, you know, spiritual. But Isaiah 56, this is from the time of Messiah onward, and even going into the age to come. And it's speaking of his Sabbaths. How on earth could it be gone? How could it be disappeared? And if this is only talking about the age to come, let's just say it is. Why on earth would the Sabbath be implemented in the age to come during the kingdom reign, 1,000 years? But it's gone for 2,000 years. It's just gone. Do you got a chapter and verse for that? It's gone for 2,000 years, but then it comes back. Did adultery go away too, or what is that? You know, so you get to pluck one commandment out and say it's gone, then it comes back, because scriptures clearly teach there will be a Sabbath in the age to come, and Sabbaths plural. So important, such a huge chapter to prove all of Christianity as liars with the fourth commandment, who say it's not important. Blessed? No, not. If you don't do these things, are you blessed? Will you be given a name? It's better than that of sons and daughters. Will you be given that crown, that promise? Everything in Isaiah here? No. No, these are conditions. Blessed is the one who does this, the Son of Man who lays hold on it, who keeps from defiling the Sabbath and keeps his hand from doing any evil. Do not let the son of the foreigner, or Gentiles, who has joined himself to the Father, Yahuwah, speak, saying, Yahuwah has utterly separated me from his people. Nor let the eunuch say, Here I am a dry tree, for thus says Yahuwah to the eunuchs who keep my Sabbaths, and choose what pleases me, and hold fast my covenant. Even to him I will give in my house, and within my walls a place and a name. Will you be given that to the eunuchs who don't keep his Sabbaths? The answer is pretty simple. Please. The answer is pretty simple. Better than that of sons and daughters. I'll give them an everlasting name that shall not be cut off. Also the sons of the foreigner who join themselves to Yahuwah to serve him and to love the name of Yahuwah, to be his servants. Everyone who keeps from defiling the Sabbath, singular now, and hold fast my covenant. Man, it's repeated like 3 times in this chapter. Even them I will bring to my holy mountain and make them joyful in my house of prayer. Those who keep his commandments, hold fast to his Sabbath and Sabbaths. He will do this, you know, in the age to come. The ones that will be blessed, right? Not the ones who break it. That's all I got for this. I will gather to him others besides those who are gathered to him. Isaiah 56:9. All you beasts of the field come to devour. All you beasts in the forest, his watchmen are blind. They are all ignorant. They are dumb dogs. They cannot bark. Sleeping, lying down, loving to slumber. Yes, they are greedy dogs, which never have enough. And they are shepherds who cannot understand. They all look to their own way, every one for his own gain, from his own territory. Come, one says, I will bring wine, and we will fill ourselves with intoxicating drink. Tomorrow will be as today, and much more abundant. Wow. All in Isaiah 56. I know what those words mean. I know what it's talking about and who he's talking about. I know. His righteousness was about to be revealed, future, specifically the new covenant. His righteousness was being revealed. And then the Sabbath's mentioned like 3 or 4 times. The eunuch saying, we're cut off. Don't let them say we're cut off and utterly separated. Christianity, Jews over there, utterly separated. Scary. Scary how true this prophecy is, isn't it? And then it's still not finished. Verse 9, all you beasts of the field come to devour. Oh yeah, he's calling them beasts. All you beasts in the forest. His watchmen are blind. They are all ignorant. They are all dumb dogs. They cannot bark, sleeping, lying down, loving to slumber, spiritually. Yes, they are greedy dogs which never have enough, and they are shepherds, pastors. Same thing, shepherds, pastors. They are pastors, shepherds, who cannot understand. They all look to their own way, everyone his own gain. These are the shepherds that say and tell you his commandments don't matter. That's the context of Isaiah 56. They're dumb dogs and they're blind watchmen. They cannot bark. You heard it from the Father, his word. I didn't make that up. So think again for those that, think I'm false or something, because I say that the Sabbath is important and all his commandments are important. Think again. Maybe you need to meditate and pray on understanding that chapter. Because for those who can see, it's simple and they see it now. But those who can't see, I know what that's like. They just can't see it yet. You have to be given that understanding. The doors have to be opened up so you can see that those who don't keep his Sabbath are not going to be given a crown, a new name that's going to last and be in the kingdom. Sabbaths is mentioned 3 times, twice singular and I think once plural in that chapter. Making it very evident those who keep these will have these future promises of the kingdom. How could it be gone? How could they have vanished? Think about this, but even more so pray about it, because if you think with your own understanding, you won't see it. Very important. Big chapter there. That's enough. It should be enough. So by the time you get to the New Testament writings, it's already a given that nobody's teaching to break them. It's a given that Paul's not teaching to break anything. It should be a given. And once it's given, then there must be an understanding, a context, what he's saying. Then you'll start to see what he was saying in some of these things. And you'll see what he was battling, which is people putting prerequisites to believing in the Messiah, having their sins blotted out, They say you have to do this first. That's what they were doing, that's all. You got to do all these things first, what we tell you, Keep the law first. Now you come in through faith, okay, but then it is important to keep his way afterwards. It is important. But the Christianity, the Christian world has made it to be unimportant, very loose, no big deal. They can't see, they're blind. Read it yourself, what they are. They're dumb dogs that can't bark. They're blind watchmen. They're shepherds who are ignorant, all of them. That's it for this one. Peace.